morning, my lovelies. Kissy Buck here. Let's talk about the terms of abuse and how they are defined. First and foremost, verbal abuse. Verbal abuse occurs when one or more people like to use words and body language to inappropriately criticize another person. Verbal abuse is often put downs, name-calling, intended to make the victim feel like they are not worthy of love or respect, and that they do not have the ability or talent. If the victim speaks up against these statements, they are often told that the criticisms were, quote-unquote, just a joke, and that it is their own problem that they do not find a joke funny. They may also be told that no abuse is happening, that it's all, quote-unquote, in their head. Verbal abuse is dangerous because it is often not easily recognized as abuse, and therefore it can go on for extended periods, causing severe damage to a victim's self-esteem and self-worth. Damaged victims may fail to take advantage of opportunities that would enrich their lives because they come to believe that they are not worthy of those opportunities. Another form of abuse that is a lot like verbal abuse is psychological, also known as emotional abuse. A definition of emotional abuse is any act including confinement, isolation, verbal assault, humiliation, intimidation, or any other treatment which may diminish the identity, dignity, and self-worth of the victim. Emotional abuse is a chronic verbal aggression. People who suffer from emotional abuse tend to have very low self-esteem, show personality changes, such as becoming withdrawn, and may become depressed, anxious, or even suicidal. Emotional abuse signs and symptoms: yelling or swearing, name-calling or insults, mocking, threats and intimidation, ignoring and excluding, isolating, humiliating, denial of the abuse, and blaming of the victim. Emotional abuse, like other types of abuse, tends to take the form of a cycle. In a relationship, this cycle starts when one partner emotionally abuses the other, typically to show dominance. The abuser then feels guilty, but not about what he or she has done, but more over the consequences of his or her actions. The abuser then makes up excuses for his or her own behavior to avoid taking responsibility over what has happened. The abuser then resumes a quote-unquote normal behavior as if the abuse never happened, and may, in fact, become extra charming, apologetic, and giving, making the abused party believe that the abuser is sorry. The abuser begins to fantasize about abusing his partner again. It sets up a situation in which more emotional abuse can take place. In some countries, emotional abuse is defined, and the following examples of emotional abuse are given: threats of violence or abandonment, intentionally frightening, making an individual fear that they will not receive the food or care they need, lying, failing to check allegations of abuse against them, making derogatory and slanderous statements about an individual to others, socially isolating an individual, failing to let them know they have visitors, withholding important information, demeaning an individual because of the language they speak, intentionally misinterpreting traditional practices, repeatedly raising the issue of death, telling an individual that they are too much trouble, ignoring or excessively criticizing, being overfamiliar and disrespectful, unreasonably ordering an individual around, treating an individual like a servant or a child. Emotional abuse can happen to anyone at any time in their life. Children, teens, and adults all experience emotional abuse, and emotional abuse can have devastating consequences on relationships and all those involved. Just because there is no physical mark does not mean the abuse isn't a problem or isn't real and isn't a crime in some countries. And physical abuse occurs when one person uses physical pain, or threatening of physical force to intimidate another person. Actual physical abuse may involve simple slaps or pushes, and may include a full-on physical beating, complete with punching, kicking, hair pulling, scratching, and real physical damage, sufficient in some cases to require hospitalization. In particularly violent instances, people can die from their injuries that they have sustained while being physically abused. Physical abuse is abusive whether bruises or physical damage occur or not. Physical abuse may involve the mere threat of physical violence if the victim does not comply with the wishes of the abuser, and still be considered physical abuse. Sexual abuse. Children and adults can be sexually abused, and that includes any sort of unwanted sexual contact perpetrated on a victim by an abuser. Molestation, incest, inappropriate touching with or without intercourse, a partner or date rape are all instances of sexual abuse. Sexual abuse also occurs if one partner has agreed to a certain level of sexual activity and another level is forced upon him or her without prior explicit consent being given. Sexual abuse is often coupled with physical abuse or threat of physical abuse and emotional abuse, for instance. Child molesters will often threaten to harm their victims or to someone or something that their victim cares about in order to compel that victim's silence about what happened to them. And they can also say that the victim asked for it, which is beyond disgusting, but that's some of the stuff that does happen. It is difficult to detect drugs like rofinol, also known as roofies, on the street, and may be put into drinks to make them pliable and easy to target. Neglect. Neglect occurs when a person fails to provide for the basic needs of one or more dependent victims that he or she is responsible for. Basic needs include adequate and appropriate food, shelter, clothing, hygiene, love, and care. The idea of neglect presupposes that the neglectful person is capable of being responsible in the first place. For example, it is neglect when an employed parent fails to care for their child adequately. It is still neglect when a parent is unable to provide for their child despite their best efforts due to extreme poverty or illness. But neglect is perhaps mitigated into circumstances where neglect can only happen to dependent persons. For this reason, it is most typically involves children or elders who are not able to take care of themselves properly and need their assistance of their family and or caregivers. Hate crimes. Hate crimes are a type of abuse that involves verbal, physical, emotional, sexual abuse toward an individual or a group of an individuals based solely on some characteristic that they may share in common with others, such as their religious, sexual affiliations, or the color of their skin. In the United States, hate crimes are defined as crimes in which the defendant's conduct was motivated by hatred, bias, and prejudice based on the actual or perceived race, color, religion, national origin, gender, sexual orientation, and gender identity of some other individual or groups of individuals. In 1994, the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act added disabilities to the above list. Reason why I'm talking about this is because we see so much going on where those of us who try to speak out are targeted, be forced to comply to what everybody else wants to believe. We're not allowed to say how we feel. You don't have no right to rob anybody's voice, haters. If you got nothing better to do, then go there and stay at the Masterminds channel and continue to drink that lovely Kool-Aid. And don't forget that big boy that he's best friends with either. You could go there and drink his Kool-Aid too for all I care. And if he's got cookies on his dark side, well, like I said before, I don't want the damn cookies. I just want to speak out. I want abuse awareness. I don't want people to target my friends, myself, or anybody else who has taken all the strength they have to stand up and speak out against bullies like you. People who abuse for profit. And I will 100% support Rosa Studios. I have told her this. I stand by that. I stand by any of my friends that I've made that also have that voice where they want to speak out. Because we're tired of this. We don't want abuse for consumption. We don't want to see children suffer and be neglected. We don't want to see people be scapegoated. And I don't care if it's all in the name of making a freaking dollar. Who cares? I don't want to see that. And the more that we speak out, the more people are coming forward and standing up and support. And the more people that come forward and stand up with support, the more it's going to be harder for you to push this content down somebody's throat. I mean, right now you think that we're all tiny and we're beneath you because we're all small YouTubers. Well, you might want to go look at your freaking subscribers list, big boy, because you don't have that many either. You don't have 1 million subscribers, dude. You like to think in your head that you do, but you know what? You don't. Now your BFF does, but you don't. So stop picking on the small channels. We want to be heard just like you want to be heard with your mockery videos where you're talking crap about this one and that one. You disgust me. You disgust me. I have told you you disgust me. I don't like you. I will say that, from now until the cows come home. I don't like you. And it's very, very rare that I find people that I really don't like that I will literally voice my opinion like this, but I don't like you. I don't like what you stand for. I don't like the fact that you abuse your wife. And you do it on like freaking video live streams. You post about how your child listened to you berate his mother and that he got tired and fell asleep. You're sick. That's his mother. At the end of the day, she doesn't have to be perfect because God knows you're not. You are sick. That is abuse. That is abuse to inflict that kind of behavior on your child where he has to watch and listen to you call your wife derogatory names, put her down, say she's stupid. Oh, and then you post a freaking video or picture of your child where he finds her sexual toy and he thinks it's a sword? And you're laughing, and you're having him pose with it, and you get mad at the woman who tells you that she doesn't like that, and that it's not appropriate, and that, oh, quote, unquote, she doesn't appreciate your sense of humor. That's not humor. That's not humor. Your child shouldn't even know where that was to begin with, let alone be posing in a picture for it, and then you think the audience is supposed to laugh, and it's ha 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 funny. Again, abuse for profit. You need to leave Roasted Studios alone. If you don't like the content that she puts out, then maybe you guys totally just stop making a crap-tastic videos and then nobody would have to call you out on your crap. How about that? And you scapegoat anybody that you can so that you can make people hate other people. That in a sense, it's like that's a hate crime right there. It's bullying. It's cyberbullying. You call it what you want at the end of the day. You can call it a love story if you want, but you know what? It's still abuse. And don't throw me in a category with anybody that you don't like because I speak up. I will continue to speak up. You don't scare me. I've been through everything I could possibly be through in my lifetime. You don't scare me. And when I think about you two basically making money on this platform by the crap and abuse that you do, I get even more fired up and want to speak out. I'm a parent. I don't have time to watch it, immaturity. Oh, let's put children on camera. Let's have people send me money because I'm using a sick child. Oh, let me put a kid on a camera because I want to tell him he's not respecting women. But oh, I didn't respect women either. Who are you to tell this child anything? Unless you were respecting women from the get-go, don't you dare preach at this child. You of all people have no right to say anything. You are a hypocrite. I don't want to hear about how so-and-so made money on his super chat. You know what? You use super chat using sick and dying children. And people get all mad because they donate money to you people. Okay, I said this in my last video. If you're donating money to people you don't know, you're an idiot and I'm going to laugh at you. Unless you know it's a reputable place to donate money and you've spoken to the family directly, I would not donate to some fat blob that likes to bully people that I don't know. Because I want to know, if I'm going to donate my money, I want to know where my money's going. And I sure as hell ain't going to just give my money away for free. So at the end of the day, if you did that, and you, God only knows why, but you did it willingly, and you're not happy because now you look like a fool, stop crying about it. Maybe you should hold on to your money and take care of your family, yourself, whatever it may be. And if you really feel compelled to donate money, do your homework. And you get mad because you think people are manipulating you and they're duping you and they're brainwashing you. No. You're just an idiot who didn't do their homework. You need to do your homework. You don't just go foolishly donate money. And then for the blob that likes to, beg for money. You know what? I don't want you to beg money from your viewers. I want you to talk to the people that are involved directly, such as the children's family. Find out where they can send money, where it's going to go for reputable uses, not where it's going to go to your bank account. And you are going to be, I'm, whatever, in charge of where that money goes? Oh, hell no. I would not put you in charge of no money. Wouldn't be able to trust you. But you know what? To my viewers, subscribers, please don't stop listening to Roasted. Roasted has so much information that she can share, knowledge. Continue to stand up for the people who speak out about abuse, who want it to stop. We don't want this on our platform. So, please, support the people who speak out and want to bring awareness, because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. These people that use abuse for profit, or quote-unquote humor, no. Back to people who want to make a difference at the end of the day. Back to people who want to do the right thing. And please, before you go to someone's channel and start saying things about them, please know that we listen to videos. We don't just speak just to speak. We speak about what we've seen. Some of us even speak about our own experiences. We want to bring knowledge out there to you guys. We want to make you aware that that's not good content, that it is inappropriate, it is abusive. It's not fair to children that did not ask to be on camera. And I still stand by the fact that I don't think children should be on camera. It's dangerous. I will continue to say that. I find it neglectful and abusive because those children have no say. And as I said so many times before, there's a bunch of sickos in the world. And we all know that they had the mastermind's address and the old man's address. So keep that in mind. Think about the children. And don't let people sit there and try to deflect any kind of view on this abuse away from what is really happening. Keep in mind that those children, they're innocent. And there's always a distraction because nobody wants to talk about the abuse. They don't want to address it. If they're asked, they ignore it. Angry neighbor, mastermind, the blob. Before you start sitting there threatening people, why don't you guys address the question? What about the abuse? If you're going to put it out there, we have every right to question it. Okay, guys. I think I've spoken enough today, but that's what I wanted to say to you guys. And again, let's stand behind each other and let's support each other and continue to have people continue to speak out and share their views and their opinions. And of course, as you guys always know, feedback is welcome here. I love you guys a lot, and thank you for listening. I will talk to you later. Bye.